gonna go ahead and hit. There you go. Okay,
Sounds
great.
like it's doing it.
All right. And then I will just go ahead and do an intro in, and then we're good to go.
Great.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Grace Atkins. I am the Adult Programs Manager at Thomasville Center for the Arts. And I'm so excited to have Parker Millsap with us today, talking about his career and his life in music. Parker is going to be our headliner coming up at Due South April 9th. And we are so excited. He's actually back in Thomasville. He was here in 2016 as an opener with JJ Gray and Mofro. Parker, what is it like coming back to Thomasville?
I'm excited. I love going back to a place that I've already been once because it feels like I don't know, comfortable already, you know. I already know it. It's really great. It's a great feeling to feel at home in so many places.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're really excited to have you back. It's awesome whenever we can meet back up with any of our musicians, artists, as they get bigger and bigger. And we're just really glad that we're able to grab you for this one. So how did you first get involved in music?
Let's see. There were a few records that really got my attention when I was really young, like 4 or 5. There's a Ry Cooder record called Boomer's Story, and there's a Robert Earl Keen record. I think it's Live at Sons of Herman Hall that my dad listened to, and so I became familiar with from really young, and that got me interested in guitar and songs. And then went to church growing up, and so when I was like old enough to get my hand around a guitar, about 7 or 8, my parents got me a guitar. And then eventually I started getting lessons, and once I could kind of put 5 or 6 chords together and strum along, I started playing in church, at first unplugged, but just like sitting up there watching the other guitarist hands and reading out of he had a hymnal with all the chords written in, and which fret to capo on, so I did that growing up a lot, playing music at least twice a week in church. And then when I got into junior high and high school, I started writing songs and playing with friends that I had in high school, and just kept doing it.
That's awesome. You can definitely tell that you have that kind of church background in your music. You have that little bit of like that gospel Southern kind of twang to it. Are there other inspirations that you really have now in your music? Other artists or genres that just really get you going?
I really love all music. I'm an omnivore, the past few years I've skewed more toward like jazz and I hate saying world music because it's not, but like music of other cultures essentially. So let's see, and like often at record stores and stuff, they're like, it's really economical to go through like the used quote world music section, and like I can walk out of there with a bunch of really cool stuff for pretty cheap, and I kind of like not knowing what they're saying, like if it's vocal music, I like not knowing the words and just focusing on the musical elements. So lately that's where my head's been at, like Romani music and African music, and just like I don't even know how to pronounce the names of the artists that I've been listening to.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
love that. I know in 2021 you just released a new album, which is really exciting. What was that process like, especially with things being, I'm sure, so different? Recording an album leading up to it and releasing in 2021 of all times.
Yeah, we went into the studio in April of 2020, so like basically it just timed out to where by the time we could get tests, as soon as we could get tested, we got tested, and then the night before we were scheduled to go in the studio, our test results came in and we were able to record. But then everything leading up to the record and then releasing the record, it was still, there wasn't like as official an album release tour around the release of the record. It happened some months later, but it ended up being great. So yeah, just different this time around.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, so you are singer-songwriter, write your music, have a background in that. What kind of is your process when you're writing music?
It's kind of all over the place, and it depends on what I've been listening to and where I've been. And lately, it's been a little more like music first. It wasn't always that way. I feel like I have gone through random cycles of how I approach songwriting, but at the beginning, it was definitely more concept or story based, and then like finding music that seemed to fit the story. But lately it's been more of like the act of like playing guitar for a few hours until I come up with something new and inspiring, and then like, oh, well, how would that little thing sound in the context of a song, and then like build the song around little musical ideas. Feels a little bit more like a puzzle
Okay.
that way for me.
Mhm.
um yeah, yeah, but I mean, 9 times out of 10 there's like an acoustic guitar involved, and maybe like 3 times out of 10 there's a drum machine involved.
Yeah. Nice. So we actually have a lot of young singer-songwriters in town, a lot of young artists that come in and out of the center. The
Hmm.
festival as a whole, really funds our education programs. So that's a really big thing for us. Do you have any advice for young singer-songwriters as they're getting started?
uh Keep writing,
Yeah.
keep writing, and keep writing. And if you're interested in performing, just go find as many gigs as you can. Play as much as you can. There's no such thing as like too much practice, playing in front of people. I think what music is really about is connecting with people.
Yeah.
And if a song works like with you and a guitar or you and a piano, it's going to work however you treat it when you go record it. So yeah, it's good practice, and it's a good way to gauge like if your songs are working. Sometimes, the modern way of making music, we're like in this box all
Mhm.
the time, which is fascinating, and it's like you could create these whole worlds. But sometimes it's nice to know, at least for me, like the material's solid enough to just go play it.
Mhm. Nice. Thank you. And then, with how the past couple of years have been, what's it been like getting back out into touring and finally being able to play out live and stuff like that again?
um I'm grateful for it, in a way that, not that I was ever ungrateful for. I mean, I've had like charmed is like putting it lightly, the way that my life has gone. um but I have like a new respect for live music. And it really is like, in the modern day, it's like uh, how do I say this, an acceptable like form of spirituality that's like universal. You know what I mean? Like, you bring up religion, most spiritual paths, and like, in a conversation, and in a room of 100 people, there's going to be a few people that like, well, actually, do something like
Sure.
that. But music is like a spiritual path and a spiritual practice, and it's accepted like in pretty much every culture. you know
Mhm.
it feels universal. And getting in a room with people, I've played some shows, I've seen some shows, the past year or so, and coming back and being back in a room and like either doing it or watching people do it in
Mhm.
the moment right now, uh is it's thrilling. you
Mhm.
know
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
thrilling.
Yeah, there's nothing like a live music event. Just like actually being able to hear it in person. You just
It's
can't.
the
But
Yeah, it's the best. And I have a friend named Kyle who, one time after a show, he's like, man, you know what I love about going to a lot of shows is like, you start to see every crowd is like its own unique organism. Like this group of people is
Yeah.
never going to be together again. Like this group of people, this is a one-time thing that's happening one time. You know, this exact group will never be in the same room together again. And I like,
Oh,
yes, that's fun.
I
That's
love
fun to
that.
think
Yeah.
about. Huh.
Great. Yeah, talking about that, have you had like any like standout experiences doing a live performance?
Um, hmm. I mean, I got to perform with Elton John once, which was like pretty surreal. I got to do two songs with him, one of his and one of mine. That was like the whole like few days surrounding that were kind of surreal. I'm like, is this happening right now?
Yeah.
So that was crazy. But also, you know, I've done shows like in the middle of nowhere all over America that you know, where you really feel like the love. You know what I mean? I've played to 10 people and everybody was right there with me in the band the whole time, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah.
Great. I can't even imagine being just in the vicinity of Elton John, let alone playing with him. That's so cool.
I mean, he's a very wonderful guy. He's one of a kind, you know, like he's been nobody else. I mean, I guess Paul McCartney and maybe a couple others are like that
Mm.
level of been famous
Yeah.
for their whole lives, you know. It's just yeah, fascinating. And great to see like he's still such a music head. Like he wants to discover new music every day. He's constantly reading up on like what's new and coming out. I had a chance to see like a small fraction of his record collection and it was, you know, enormous. And he listens to it all too. Like anyways, yeah, he's amazing.
Awesome. Okay, great. Is there anything else that you want to let everyone know where to find you, what you've got coming up?
Let's see. I'm doing some solo shows. Let's see, opening for Patty Griffin and John Paul White coming up, but then got these full band shows on this Georgia run that I'm coming to y'all for. I'm working on new music, but that won't be out for quite a while, but that's on the way too. So
Exciting. A lot of music lately. It's great.
yeah.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It was really nice talking with you. Uh,
Yeah.
Everyone, make sure you go follow Parker on all of his socials, check out his website, keep track of what's going on. We'll keep everyone updated on Due South.
2 L's in Millsap. Parker Millsap with 2 L's.
Thank you. Awesome.
Great. Thanks.
Thanks.